What's up, everybody? This is a 7X fan Ben, and this is a battle report from Las Vegas. So this was a 3-player 60-point game. This is just going to be off the cuff, so it's going to be kind of a random recording. So we had customs allowed. We did 3 islands per player, 3 terrain placed per player. We mostly used the Las Vegas house rules, which are similar to some other house rules you may have seen in other battle reports I've done in the past. So we rolled to see who goes first. I think I was the one that went first. I was using all 3 ships and both crew from my War of 1812 mega pack, which you can find on pirateswithben.com. I'll leave a link in the description. One of the latest major releases I've been putting out as part of my Restarting Pirates project. So I had USS Niagara with Oliver Hazard Perry aboard. I had USS Lawrence with a captain and USS Tripp with Thomas Breese aboard, actually. And then to fill out the points to get to 60, I had Boston with a captain and an explorer, and then Niagara actually had a helmsman and oarsman as well. And then going second was my friend Stefan, so he actually brought the Americans as well. He had USS Constitution, Louisiana, Carolina, and Rattlesnake. You can see them off to the left there. And then my friend Rudy was using some of my customs in a fleet I made for him. So he had Black Phoenix with Lord Garhelm and a helmsman, Manticore from Rise of Atlantis with Reef Triton and a helmsman, and then Pegasus, the caravel on the left with an explorer. So 4 coins per island. We didn't use any unique treasures, and so it was a pretty simple distribution. We actually used totally random gold. There was no player-based like treasure contributions. So that's our basic setup, and we'll launch into some of the pictures. So there's my War of 1812 mega pack, and another shot there with the new custom historical 2-masted brig ship type that I made. And we've got Stefan's American fleet there, and that crew is just to mark it as his home island. It's not part of his fleet. And then Rudy's ships there. So here we see the Americans setting sail, USS Niagara on the right, USS Lawrence on the left. All right, so getting into the action, basically I think I'll just go left to right, at least in this picture. So I round Earth, or actually I took a whirlpool. Boston was thinking about going to the center island, but then I knew there was probably going to be competition there. So instead I had Boston whirlpool into the northwest, where she took on Carolina, but only took out 1 mast in her first attack. So there's some lag with the picture. I'll try not to zoom in too hard because it seems to might be laggy when I zoom in. So anyway, Pegasus went to a wild island, explored it, grabbed 2 coins. Louisiana is headed in that same general direction. And then in the middle, we saw Black Phoenix actually dock and then later explore this middle island. Constitution, though, is kind of rounding the island and looks like she might be a threat. And then in the east, I basically saw Manticore come into this island, and I knew that's a pretty tough ship with good cannons and a good ability, so I made sure to cut it off and get the first strike, even if I had to risk the Sargasso Sea, which I did get stuck in. So Niagara got stuck in the Sargasso Sea, but between Lawrence and Niagara, I was able to take out a couple of Manticore's masts, and I think one of her crew as well. So here we got a close-up of the Americans taking on the Atlanteans as history meets fantasy. And then here I've got Boston. I was thinking about Boston by now had actually grabbed a coin from the Northwest Island, but I knew there was some other coins there, and Carolina was not able to outrun Boston without a helmsman. She had an explorer. So I kept going after her with Boston and ended up dismantling the ship with the plan to tow her back. I might have to contend with Louisiana, though, because she was headed northwest. And then Constitution rounded the middle island and was able to take out 2 masts on Black Phoenix. But Black Phoenix was able to return home, unload her gold, and escape from that danger a little bit. So that was a good play on Rudy's part. I was kind of surprised to see Black Phoenix explore and get gold, but it turned out to work pretty well. Was able to escape from the Constitution just in time. So, and then Tripp has run gold from the southeast and is returning to my home island. And over here, Niagara is still stuck in the Sargasso Sea, but I had Lawrence go after Manicore. I didn't really want to let Manicore escape too easily, so Lawrence has gone after Manicore and finished dismasting that ship. I wanted to capture it, but as you'll see soon, things got kind of a little bit ugly in that regard as the turns went on. So here's another, this looks like the same turn, a little bit more close up, showing some of the action. And actually, yeah, Louisiana hit Pegasus. So Pegasus got hit by Louisiana. Stefan had real bad combat luck this game. He had really poor combat rolls. So Louisiana was only able to take out one mast and I think 4 shots on Pegasus. So the Carabelle is returning home to Rudy's home island. So here we see in the northwest, Boston has captured Carolina. So I was able to make that happen. Of course, it would take a long time to get back. Neither ship had a helmsman. So to tow them round Earth to my home island would take a while. But first I wanted to get some of that other gold on that island. I had seen that it was 3 and then 3 1s, so 6 total gold, but I wanted to try to get all of it. Rattlesnake is returning home to Stefan's American home island. Trip has returned home with 3 coins to my home island. The coins were 5, 2, and 1. And that was kind of important for me because I knew it was enough gold to build a fort, which would become relevant pretty soon. So Black Phoenix looks like she's repairing. Pegasus has returned home with some gold. So Rudy's on the board with some more treasure. And then Niagara got free, but then per the Sargasso Sea rules, she wouldn't be able to actually start moving away from the Sargasso Sea until next turn. And Louisiana has whirlpooled into the east, and Constitution is joining her. So I was starting to get nervous about this island in the east and if I would be able to get any gold from it. So I made sure to position Niagara on the Sargasso Sea to minimize how many cannons Stefan could get in range with his Louisiana and Constitution. So the way I pre-measured it was if Niagara came out on the southern side of this Sargasso Sea, Louisiana would have probably multiple cannons in range, especially because she's faster than Constitution. So I did build the fort. I had to debate a little bit about whether or not I was going to run away, which that may have actually worked out okay too, especially because I had like at least equal speeds as Stefan's American ships, but I decided to stick it out and see what would happen. I knew that if I was going to take on the Americans in a firefight here, I would need the fort cannons and durability to win that fight. And I decided Oliver Hazard Perry probably wouldn't run, so I wanted to make sure I embodied his spirit here. So I stuck it out. So Lawrence docked at the island. She's explored it. And I built Thompson's Island, the American fort there. So, and then Niagara is basically trying to stay out of range of like all 3 major gunships that are a little bit west of her. So I try to have decent positioning. And then Black Phoenix looks like she's going to go and tow Manicore. So unfortunately I was not able to, in all this stuff happening, I was trying to get this gold and also stave off the Americans. So I kind of lost the opportunity to capture Manicore in that. But Black Phoenix looks like she's going to go get Manicore, and then Pegasus as repaired at Rudy's home island. So here we go. So the battle begins. So we've got this really bizarre Civil War situation where the Americans fought the Americans. And we even have this weird historical matchup where USS Constitution, the Revolution version, which kind of feels like more historical than the Ocean's Edge version, she's fighting other historical American ships, but from a new release, the War of 1812 Mega Pack. So here she's teamed up with Louisiana to take out both masts on the Lawrence, which is docked, and then one flag from the fort. So I took some damage getting hit here, and I knew it was going to be a really tough uphill battle if I was going to try to win this fight. So what's crazy is I had an insane turn where I went, I believe, 7 for 7 on the combat rolls. I think that's what it was. It was insane. So Thompson's Island gets +1 to her kin rolls with a ship docked at her. I think that helped here. That helped throughout this entire combat phase. So Thompson's Island went 4 for 4, and then Niagara surged in and rammed the Constitution, which is just a bizarre matchup that makes no sense historically, but it's kind of interesting that it happened. So Niagara went 2 for 2 with cannons and then also got the ram roll. So in terms of mass eliminated, I went 7 for 7 on this turn, which is just pretty wild. And so I got really lucky here. The luck completely flipped. Before this, my combat rolls had been probably almost as bad as Stefan's throughout the game, but then in this turn it completely flipped and I got super lucky. So Lawrence is repaired, and this kind of turned the tide of the battle. It wasn't over yet, to say the least, but it was a huge turn in the game. So, and another thing that really stuck out to me in this crazy situation is that it kind of mirrored the Battle of Lake Erie, which is what the War of 1812 Mega Pack is based on. Because if we go back a little bit, we see Lawrence, similar to what happened at the Battle of Lake Erie, Lawrence gets pummeled, and then Oliver Hazard Perry comes in with Niagara and turns the tide of the battle, which is actually remarkably similar to what happened at the Battle of Lake Erie back in 1813 during the War of 1812. So pretty crazy, weird ironies that happened in this game. So, we can see at the top there, Black Phoenix is captured, or not captured, but Rudy towed Manicore to try to get his ship back in action. So here we see the USS Niagara taking on USS Constitution. All right, so of course I got pummeled on the return fire. So it was kind of a pendulum battle where it swung back and forth. The momentum was kind of crazy. So Constitution and Louisiana team up to dismast both historical brigs. So now Niagara and Lawrence are both really down and out right now. But I've still got all 4 fort cannons, which was key. So, all right, so here we see the fort has returned fire to dismast Louisiana, and then Lawrence was still docked at the fort, so I was able to repair a mast on her. And then Niagara, I think she lost her helmsman when Constitution boarded her, but she still had an oarsman, so I was able to row to the fort and hopefully would be able to repair. And then, speaking of which, Pegasus, fully repaired, has gone out to the middle island where she's going to grab some gold right out from underneath Rattlesnake, who's headed there as well. Up in the northwest, the top left, I finally have gold on the captured Carolina because Boston didn't have cargo space for the 3 additional coins there. And then Boston has retowed Carolina, so they're headed for the long journey back towards my home island. Tripp has gone back to the southeast island and grabbed the remaining coins from there, and now she's headed home with them. And Black Phoenix is almost done towing Manicore back to Rudy's home island to try to get that ship back in action. So this is just another close-up of the same action, basically. So the Americans totally beating each other up here. So a lot of carnage in the east. So I was able to win the battle here. So basically Constitution I think she got rammed by Lawrence. Yeah, I think that's how I did the damage. I think the fort, because of Constitution's ability, that really nice defensive ability, I wasn't able to continue my string of luck. The fort missed too many times to take out the Constitution's final mast, so I needed Lawrence to ram her to do that, but I was able to make that happen. And then Niagara, with the oarsman, was able to tow the Constitution and capture her. So at this point, I'd captured 2 of Stefan's American ships and wanted the Louisiana as well. So with that, my fledgling kind of smaller American ship force, with huge help from Thompson's Island fort, basically won that battle. But it wasn't nearly over because now I had to contend with the repairing Manicore and Black Phoenix because the game wasn't quite over and Rudy might be looking to get involved here. So here's a shot mostly to show Boston round earthing with Carolina towing her towards my home island. And up north, Manicore is repaired. Pegasus has set out. Black Phoenix is finished repairing. So I was still in a tough spot because I had all these damaged ships and kind of a weird spot where I was trying to retain the fort gold, but then Rudy's like powerful gunships were just about finished repairing, and I would have to try to fight him off with my damaged force of battered ships. So here Lawrence has captured Louisiana, and Niagara has towed Constitution back to the fort for repairs. Unfortunately, I transferred the ransom crew because Commodore Matthew Perry was actually on Constitution, and I transferred him to uh, Niagara, which was probably a mistake because now Constitution was on the other side of the fort. I debated where to put Constitution when I docked her at the fort, but anyway, we'll see how it works out. So Trip is headed out there as well. So I wanted to have more support in the area because I knew Rudy was probably going to attack, which you can see there. And Trip was there to potentially, if I needed to, take gold out of the fort and towards my home island because I anticipated Rudy potentially destroying the fort. The issue right now is actually that we were running out of time. So the board game night was almost coming to a close and the shop was going to close. So I basically said we should make sure we have the last round started by 8:40 p.m. And if it wasn't, then that would become, last round basically. So that basically just ensures that all players have a fair shot and have an equal number of turns. Because if I was player one, so if I get, the last turn, it doesn't really work because then the other players get gypped out of the last round. So we wanted to make sure we had a timer set so that by 8:40, whichever round we were playing at that time, that would be the final round of the game. So, all right, so we have Black Phoenix. She crashed into Lawrence there, took out the mast she had repaired, and she also sank USS Niagara. So that ship is gone for good, and it's looking not so great for my fleet now that I'm starting to lose the historical brigs again. So, and then Pegasus is still on her way out, and Manicore is finished repairing, so it doesn't look too good for my Americans. And it looks like that's actually the last picture. So basically, the game ended very soon after this, and with the count, Rudy won 21 to 19 to 12. So he had 21 gold, I had 19, and Steven had 12. So that includes gold on ships and in forts. So I came in second place by 2 gold. It was really cool to see Rudy win, though. It may have been his first win, but either way, it was a pretty good game overall, and it's good to see everybody get double digits in gold. So I think it may have been a tie if I had done things a tiny bit better, a tiny bit differently with the Niagara, both with the ransom capture and actually Rudy captured Lawrence soon after this. And I think she had a 1 coin aboard, which I don't know if I really had time to put that in the fort or transfer it somewhere else, but either way, probably should have done either the ransom transfer or that 1 gold a tiny bit differently. May have ended in a tie or me winning by 2 instead of losing by 2. So, but either way, it was a pretty fun game. It was really bizarre to see basically Oliver Hazard Perry fighting Commodore Matthew Perry. That was really bizarre. That happened during the USS Niagara versus USS Constitution matchup. It's kind of like the story of the game was kind of like a really strange historical American Civil War that then got usurped by the fantasy pirate Atlantean faction, who swooped in to kind of clean up the mess and basically win just by a narrow margin at the end. So anyway, it was a pretty fun game. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Pirates videos.